Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to make a radiant heater that is super simple to put together. This would be great for an emergency if you have a power outage or you just need some extra heat in something like a greenhouse like this. And it involves this piece right here, which only costs about $10. The rest of it is basically stuff you might be disposing of or throwing in the trash. So putting this together is so incredibly easy, but there's a few important components that you may not have. So it's great to put them all together, put them in your pantry, forget about it until you have an emergency, and then you could use it and it will last for many hours and keep your room quite warm. Now I just want to give you a quick look at the different sizes you can make this heater in. These are everything from stainless steel to just common tin paint cans that have never been used. You can order them from Amazon, or some really small cans. So just depending on what size your need is or what area you're trying to heat, you can use any of these devices, but I'm just going to use a couple of cans that I would just normally throw in the trash. Now I really want to make this where it's easy to put together, that anybody could just put this together in an emergency situation, but I also want to make it as safe as possible, and I'll talk about safety as well in the video. But I'm just going to use a couple of cans that contain food items, and I'm using a very special can opener. This can opener will open the cans and there will not be a sharp edge around the lid. So that's one thing. I'll put a link in the description to this particular can opener so you don't have to worry about cutting your finger, which I've done several times on some cat food when I was feeding the cats, and it's really easy to do. So you want to use this specific type of can opener that makes it a lot safer. So as you can see, it removes the entire lid. It's not like your standard can opener. You can see no sharp edges here and no sharp edges on the inside of the can. So that makes it a lot safer than your standard can opener. I know this seems like a small detail, but when it comes to cutting your fingers, you definitely don't want to do this putting this type of heater together. You might get it out of the cabinet or the pantry during a power outage or an emergency, and then suddenly realize you've cut your finger on a really sharp edge. So I just want to make it as safe as possible. Now carefully wash the contents of both cans out. We're going to take our razor blade and just make sure we cut all the way across and remove our label. A little bit soggy because I got a little bit of water on the outside of the can. So we're just going to remove the label. Try to make sure we get all the glue at the same time, so peel it rather slowly. You might see some extra glue. We can scrape that because the glue itself can release a little bit of a smell to your heater. So just make sure you remove all the glue and the paper, and that may require your razor blade to do a little bit of scraping on the sides. But again, we're doing this with both cans, and this larger can, I guess it's about 6-7 inches tall, and then the smaller can needs to fit cleanly inside the smaller can, so there's just a small gap around the edges. Now the flame actually works its way up the entire length of this filter, and this is a cold brew coffee filter, and I'll put a link in the description to this. But this is made out of stainless steel. It's an extremely fine mesh, and it does have a rubber gasket at the top, so you'll need to remove that rubber gasket. I think it was around $10 or $11. So this is the thing that makes this thing work so efficiently and so effectively, because the flame runs up the full length of it and it puts off a lot of radiant heat. So that's the main thing that you'll need to purchase. You can obviously, you're going to have cans you're throwing away and a couple of other items that's going to make it work as well, but this is the secret item that I would say that makes this homemade radiant heater work perfectly. Now in the past I made several other heaters, and I'm always asked the same question, so I wanted to create a PDF right here, and this talks about common fuels that you can use in it, burn times, emissions, and safety. So this is a free PDF. You can click on the link in the description. That'll take you to Patreon, and you can download this to your device, or you can print it directly. But I always get the same questions about burn time. So there's a lot of different factors in there, from purity to the type of fuel you're using. So it's just really a lot of variables, and I can't answer that question definitely. So take a look at this free PDF, and you can also, if you're interested, you can become a member of Patreon and see videos that are not appearing on YouTube, or you'll see early release content as well. Now this material right here always causes a lot of questions, and this is plumber's felt. This is used by plumbers to prevent any accidental fires when they're welding pipes together and using their butane torches or propane torches. So just remember, this is a product that really will help make the wicking action work. You could try other types of cloth, but they're going to burn up really quickly. So I would recommend, and you can use candle wicks and fiber type wicks, but I'm going to recommend this type of plumbing product. I know it's a little bit unorthodox, but this is what's going to make it wick to the top, and it'll make it go through that stainless steel mesh. And I think this was around $10 as well. And we'll take this and we're going to cut it to the exact length and put on the interior of our smaller can. So I'm going to take just a common pair of scissors. This plumber's felt cuts just like any other fabric, and it can withstand temperatures up to 3,200 degrees. This particular one I purchased. So we want to cut it just at the base of where the can is at, so we can use this as our wick, and the fuel will work its way from even at the bottom of the can when you're nearly out. So just remember that this is another thing that's going to make this little ingenious heater work perfectly every time. All right, so we've got this cut. We want it just to wrap around the can. We don't want it to overlap, so we're going to cut that right about there. Now, you can't hardly see that from the camera angle, but we're just going to cut it right where it meets, and you don't have to attach this in any special way. We're just trying to get it to wrap around the can, because this smaller can will be sitting inside the larger can, and our wick will be inside this interior of this can as well. So we're not on the outside, we're actually on the inside of our interior can there. So there we have our wick just coming to the surface of our inside can. Now we're going to take our outside can, and I'm going to use another special tool to prep it for our little radiant heater. Now on our larger can, we want to put small 1/4 inch holes about every 1/2 inches around the outside of the can. And I'm using a step drill bit, but you can use things like a paddle bit. It may not give you as clean of a cut. It just depends on what you have in your toolbox. But something like this will cut through metal very easily. So again, we're just going to go all the way around the rim of the larger can, creating those 1/4 inch holes. Now we drilled our holes. They don't have to be perfectly spaced or anything like that. We're just trying to create an area where it's going to allow a really good vacuum and a good airflow to the flame. Also, make sure you wear a good pair of leather gloves, because these type of cans can have sharp edges. So as you're drilling, working around that area, you need to make sure you have a good pair of thick safety gloves. Now as for fuel, as again I said in that PDF, there's a lot of different types of fuel you can use, and there's really one really important thing I want to say first is you need to make sure you have the proper safety equipment, a fire extinguisher, and also you need a carbon monoxide detector and a smoke detector, because some of these fuels may not burn as clean as others. So you may have to put them like on a stove where there's an exhaust vent, crack a window so some of those vents those fumes can head out to the outside. And if you already have something like the stove set up where you could vent them outside, that's great. If you're totally out of power, that's when a battery operated detection device is so important. So just remember that fuels, when you're dealing with flame, there's always going to be a chance of some type of fume, so just be extra careful and use a lot of precaution. Again, another thing I would recommend, I've recommended this in the past, is using the proper type of equipment. I use a Simply Safe system, and it will alert me on my phone if there's any buildup of carbon monoxide or smoke. So whatever fuel you're using, just make sure you have the proper safety detection equipment, and it'll alert you if there's a problem when you're burning this. I'm using this in the greenhouse this winter to keep it warm. It's super simple to put together. But if there was a power outage and had nothing else, or if I was camping on one of my hikes, I would be able to use something like this, throw it together. It's very lightweight, and I could have something like this, just a small bottle of alcohol, to have an emergency heater. Now we've got our outer can ready, and just remember that when you're handling these, both the inside, the outside, and your stainless steel mesh can get extremely hot. So you want to wait till they're cooled down. Don't touch them, and have all the safety equipment on hand. So we're going to put the smaller can to the inside. We're going to place our cold brew coffee filter on top. Now this isn't 100% stable, but because it sits about 1 inch down into the can, it's a little bit less likely to fall over. It's not sitting on the top of the can here on the rim where it could get knocked over super easy. But again, if you have small children or pets, you want to put this out of reach, inside of a sink, on top of a stove, somewhere that it's completely safe. Now I wanted to demonstrate how thinking outside the box, if you were in an emergency situation and you didn't have the cold brew coffee filter, this was made from a stainless steel window screen. I just cut it out, put it together, used a stainless steel camping coffee mug, did the exact same thing on the top here. This was a chicken container just to kind of stabilize it, because this one actually has a built-in top there. So this right here, if you think outside the box and you think you might have the things to put this together, you can make a radiant heater just on the fly, kind of MacGyver style. So this is an item you're going to need to purchase, but this is something you may already have around your house if you have stainless steel or aluminum window screen. So in an emergency where you have no heat and no power, this would come in really handy to warm you up. Now when it comes to lighting this, I'm using the 91% alcohol. It's not as pure as you can get. I think 99% is the highest level I have. And also I have the denatured alcohol, which if you look at the outside of the can, it actually talks about using this, try to get it there in focus, for alcohol burning devices. So you can just, and also marine stoves. So this would be the ideal fuel if you had some of that on hand, but not everyone does. So everyone almost always has some form of rubbing alcohol. So let's light it up and then we'll put our stainless mesh on. Now I've cut the light out in the greenhouse and there's an interesting effect. There's kind of a vortex happening inside of there. So it's really putting off some heat. You can really feel it. I'm going to bring in my digital thermometer. Try to make sure it's on camera there. We're looking at about 550 degrees. 528, 520. So we get closer to the top of it. Closer to 600 degrees. The very top, I don't know if you can see that. 552 steady, and I can really feel heat coming off. Now, this is the end of summer where we haven't even hit cold weather yet, but I started thinking about ways to heat the greenhouse in maybe a little bit unconventional way, and I think this way will do it. It's really putting off heat now. A little bit hard to see. I'm going to take this into a darker area of the greenhouse, into my shop, and I'll let you see this. It's actually going to start glowing red. You can see it down at the base. It just has a glowing red. I can't touch it without my gloves on. It's extremely hot, so there's a lot of safety concerns you need to follow when you're making this, but it really does work for an emergency heat source. Now I've put my gloves on, removed the top, and I just want to show you what an uncontrolled burn looks like. The mesh screen that we put on there causes a more controlled burn. Although this is putting a little bit more heat out, it's going to go through the fuel much faster. So this kind of slows down the overall burn and you get a little bit longer heat. And so ultimately your fuel goes out a little bit further. You don't run out quite as quickly. So this is ideal for camping. Obviously you wouldn't put this inside of a tent because you'd melt the top of your tent, but somewhere in a safe place, if you have an emergency situation, stove, inside of a kitchen sink, in some kind of large flower pot, so it couldn't have to worry about it getting knocked over. So you can see that the way that it's pulling it up to the top, it really burns in an excellent way. Also, sometimes these cans are sprayed with a type of lining on it for the food product, so you want to let that burn off outside first and let it completely burn off that kind of waxy film that might be in there. Now with each heater video I do, there is almost always one question that I receive, and that is, how do you put it out? Well, in this case, you just starve it. Just use a larger metal can, the stainless steel can, put it over the top, and then it starves the oxygen out of it, and you'll have the flame out in just a matter of seconds. But remember that you want to make sure safety is paramount. So no children, no pets anywhere near this, because when you're dealing with an open flame, it can be dangerous. But in the area of the country where I live in the southeast, we have natural disasters that happen at least once or twice a year, and sometimes those can go on for days or even weeks. So having something like this in your pantry as an emergency backup for heat, especially in the dead of winter, could make a huge difference. So I brought this into another area of the greenhouse in my workshop, and it's a little bit darker in here, but you can see that the flame is a lot more controlled, and it's a lot more, seems to be stable, and I think you're going to go through fuel much slower. Your burn time is going to increase, but again, it all depends on fuel purity. So I think we're actually getting close to the end of the fuel in this one. I've let it burn out in the greenhouse for a while. It looks like it's trying to go out. So that is the key, and you can see this stainless steel mesh at the base is red hot. So guys, if you decide to build one of these, just remember safety is paramount. Fire extinguishers, carbon monoxide smoke detectors, and just everything you need to make sure that it's safe. You don't want children around this, you don't want pets around it where it might get knocked over. I think the safest place to light this if you're in a snowstorm, emergency power outage, would be to put it in the kitchen sink or on top of the stove. But just remember, ventilation is extremely critical. So maybe stove, if you don't have power, if you still have that exhaust going out the top of your stove, you're probably still good. So just remember, that's the main thing. I don't want anyone to be hurt by making this, and it's really just a simple device that anybody could put together. All right, so let's do one last temperature test. And it looks like that, I'm not in focus there, I don't think, but it's around almost 800 degrees. Our fuel again is running low. I've changed out to a cleaner burning fuel, the denatured alcohol. So as you can see, if I could keep this still, you can see it's well over 700 degrees. I'm sorry I'm out of focus. I've cut the lights out in the greenhouse, so it's a little bit harder to see. So guys, it is out of fuel and it's starting to cool down, but I can tell you that it's putting out a lot of heat, and we're still in September. It's not cold outside, but I'm just thinking ahead because we're about a month and a half to 2 months away from our first frost. And that's the time when some snowstorms and other natural disasters occur. So having something like this set aside in your pantry with the right type of fuel could be a lifesaver in an emergency event during the wintertime. So guys, I really appreciate you watching. If you have a question about this video or any previous video, I hope you'll become a public subscriber first, because I usually put those questions to the front of the line because I get anywhere from 100 to 300 questions a day. So guys, I really appreciate you watching and have a great day.